Bruce Willis, was that it wasn't the last hair movie for him, right? When did he first appear bald?
I don't know. He actually had a lot of hair in this movie. Yeah. I was like, is he wearing a toupee or?
Well, it was receding though.
Like it was receding, but it looked thick. Like compared to like Die Hard, like it looked thick in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Us being bald guys, like we understand the nuances of thin hair, sad to say.
Yes. And all the tricks and tricks of the trade to disguise it.
Sometimes when my hair grows out, like when I haven't shaved for like a week for whatever reason, and I look at like the amount of hair I actually have on the top of my head, I'm just like, you could count them. you
got a higher count on your scrotum.
That is damn sure.
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies, episode 82. I am Troy. Here with my good buddy,
Mike Stella.
Mike Stella, the traveling fella.
That's right.
Where are you about to go, Mike?
I'm going to Ireland and then London. Yeah, it's going to be a jam-packed trip.
I see. There's a lot of packing still left to do.
No, this is just a messy office. This has nothing to do with packing.
Oh, yeah, what happened back there?
Dude, don't even.
It's usually immaculate and clean. That's
not usually. Like, well, it's. I don't even know.
Well, it looks like Fred Sanford's backyard is what I'm saying.
It's insane. Basically, I had to pull a bunch of shit out of the closet to like grab stuff out of there. It's just crazy. We've been very busy.
Well, in honor, kind of your European vacation, we're going to review a movie from, well, he wasn't originally a bald guy, but now he is a bald guy. Probably the best bald guy of us all.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is my...
So, Mike, what are we reviewing this week?
This week, we are reviewing the action-packed, star-studded, amazing film, Hudson Hawk.
Girls, can I ask you a question? How do I look?
Like a fraternity thing?
I just got out of jail yesterday. I didn't want to steal anything. I didn't want to go to Europe. All I wanted was a cappuccino.
You still think you're the greatest cat burglar that ever lived?
You are one hell of a thief.
Hudson Hawk is an evil, evil man.
The Big E.
I'm just some guy that's good at swiping stuff.
Eddie, we're hanging off a castle in the middle of Italy, and you're asking me how you look?
Okay. You don't gotta get technical about it.
You look gorgeous. You look like Zorro.
Well, I didn't know.
Buongiorno.
Yeah, buongiorno. Maybe you could help me. I'm being blackmailed into robbing the Vatican by a psychotic American corporation and the CIA.
I don't,
You don't speak English? You have very beautiful eyes for a man.
Oh, we
Oh, I was afraid you weren't going to drop by.
You wanna know something, Eddie? What? You hit like a girl!
Started the week by stealing the sports stuff and ended it by swiping the codex.
Yeah, but...
What are your plans for the weekend? Hosting away the Coliseum?
Can't we just go back to the kissing part?
Side by side.
Life doesn't get much better than this.
Hudson Hawk is a 1991 American action comedy directed by Michael Lehman. Bruce Willis stars in the title role and also co-wrote both the story and theme song.
Interesting.
Danny Aiello, Andy McDowell, James Coburn, David Caruso, Lorraine Toussaint, Frank Stallone, Sandra Bernhardt, and Richard E. Grant are also featured. The live-action film employs cartoon-style slapstick, including sound effects, which enhances the film's signature surreal humor. The plot combines material based on conspiracy theories, secret societies, and historic mysteries, as well as outlandish clock punk technology a la Colburn's Our Man Flint films of the 1960s, which I've never seen. Have you seen any?
I've never seen those.
I've heard of them, but never saw them.
Oh, so that's why
he's cast, probably.
in there. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a nice little touch. This movie has so much going for it.
The film was a huge critical
flop
and commercial failure in the United States, only grossing $17 million and earning 3 Razzies. But it was better received internationally and grossed $80 million for a worldwide total of $97 million. And according to the interview in 2005, Bruce Willis said they're finally in profit for the film. As of 2005, they were making money.
Good.
Off the film because it became a cult classic. And this came out right after Die Hard 2, and it was marketed poorly. They marketed it as a fucking action movie.
Did they really?
Yeah, I mean, just look at the poster. Catch the adventure, catch the excitement, catch the hawk. They changed the marketing on the poster. It was like catch the excitement, catch the laughs. So they made a pivot because they realized they mismarketed this. But by the end, the damage is done. I think Bruce has said that reviews were out before the movie even came out, and critics were just like pissing on it, shitting on it. So especially back then, when Siskel and Ebert said something sucked ass,
you listen.
People listen. Gene Shalit, that motherfucker. Do you remember Gene Shalit?
No.
Big poofy afro. He wasn't a black guy, bushy mustache, but I hated it. Hawk made me want to hawk up my popcorn. Bruce, he felt like critics were kind of out to get him because he shouldn't have been a star like he was. He said ever since Die Hard, he felt like people were hating on him and this was just their chance to pounce. Unfairly, he felt. He says he still watches the movie and laughs. Like he still thinks it's funny and it was a bit ahead of its time, maybe too cool for the room. And it also has now, I didn't see these films either, but I heard about them, seen clips, like a Hope and Crosby. Wasn't it Bob Hope and Bing Crosby used to do these buddy comedies with
I don't know.
Songs and whatever. So I think this is also reminiscent of those films.
Here we go again, Junior. We're off on the road to Morocco. This taxi is tough on the spine.
Beats the bus, huh, Junior?
Beats me. Where we're going, why we're going, how can we be sure? I'll lay you 8 to 5 that we meet Dorothy Lamour.
Mike, what'd you think of Hudson Hawk?
You know, it's funny because I remembered this movie very fondly. I realized I hadn't watched it from the very beginning in a very long time because it's one of those movies you catch flipping through the channels back when you used to do that. Mm-hmm. And then you watch it from wherever you find it. And I forgot that there's a whole 10-minute sequence where it's like Leonardo da Vinci and stuff at the beginning. And I was like, this is kind of dumb. But I guess that it sets it all up, but I kind of feel like they could have just set it up by talking about it. It was unnecessary, establishment and exposition. So I actually did not like it as much this time around as I remembered liking it, but I'm also a lot older. I remember when I saw it as a kid, I loved this movie and I knew that it was a flop. I knew that people mainly hated it. And I never understood why. And I think the idea that you're saying that they marketed it incorrectly, which is always a big issue. And we've experienced stuff like that firsthand where they want their item that they're selling to be something rather than what it actually is. And instead of playing into the strengths of what it has, they market it as something completely different, and you get people showing up who aren't there for that. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of people who would be there for that if you had marketed it correctly. That being said, I still actually liked it. I mean, I was just much more cognizant of the cheese this time around than when I was a kid. I just thought it was funny, and I enjoyed it. But if they had made this PG-13 and cut, because I'm pretty sure the only reason it was R was because it said fuck too many times. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it was not that violent. I mean, yeah,
Right.
but I mean, I would just watch Despicable Me 3 the other night. People are dying in that cartoon left and right. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why this couldn't have been a PG-13. If they just cut out some of the curse words, they would have been fine, in my opinion.
With editing, cut away from the decapitation or...
Yeah, they would have had much bigger audience. They could have marketed it to a younger crowd, and they would have, which is a bigger crowd and a crowd that's more likely to see movies because adults have more options of things to do. Kids, movies are a big thing that parents do with their kids because they can just sit there and fucking relax for 2 hours instead of having to actually entertain their damn kids. You know what I mean? I mean, it's, I realize why we would go to movies all the time. I just find it a shame because this is a highly recommend. Go in expecting like a fun, like you said, slapstick, cartoony sort of comedy. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. Like, it's fun and funny and endearing. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a great movie, actually.
Yeah, I was going to bring that point up, that it was a miscalculation to make this rated R.
Yeah.
Yeah, shifting is mainly the language, and making those changes, you really don't lose
nothing,
much of anything. And you open it up to younger audiences.
And you still get one fuck. You can still say fuck once.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You get, and that's the whole thing. When they finally do say fuck, it's like, it's funny. You can use it in a funny way or make it poignant. Like when they said, open the fucking door in Guardians 3. Like you're just like, that's so fucking good. It's
Right.
so well placed.
and it's more powerful because
exactly,
it's unexpected.
Yeah.
And it makes that one fuck you get like an amazing fuck. So yeah, this film reeks, and I don't mean that in a negative way, reeks of star power with no one pushing back.
Oh yeah.
Bruce, in this 2005 interview, he said he had a deal with TriStar, and it was probably a deal to do whatever the fuck he wanted because
at that point he could.
Yeah, he was Die Hard guy, right? And Die Hard 1 and 2 were massive hits. So why wouldn't they, right? But that's the problem. I think they needed someone to really push back, not just in the tone, but also, and one thing that really stood out to me in this viewing, and it's been a few years since I've seen it all the way through, like you, is the pacing.
I'd have to agree.
I feel like Da Vinci Beginning aside, it didn't bother me that much. It could have been shorter. The first 20 all the way up until when he arrives in Rome, the pacing's great. And it's just entertaining. It's great editing. Like when Five Tone and Jimmy fall off the building after robbing the first piece.
Yeah.
He falls through the canopy and into the chair. Like, it was just clever, right? And it didn't make any sense, but that's fine. It's like a cartoon, right? And then when it hit Rome, I felt like the movie dragged. And one crucial part of that was Danny Aiello. He was gone for a large part of the movie, and they have such amazing chemistry.
Dude, they were amazing. Anytime they were together, it was the best.
As soon as Aiello shows back up, the energy picks back up again. Now I'm into it.
When they're freaking paralyzed, sitting on the floor.
Which is my favorite scene.
It's like it's so fucking,
with their hands up.
Yeah. It's so good. Like, I fucking love that scene
that
so
whole sequence
much.
Right up to when they escape is just brilliant.
I can't move it. I'm gonna rip their fucking tongues out. Come here, you chicken shit son of a bitches. Come here. My head against your head. Fair fight.
Oh, this is how I go out. Like a hunk of frozen Play-Doh. Like a dummy in this door. What the fuck are you laughing? Oh, she's laughing, Jumbo.
Make it come out my nose.
It's just funny how, I think is it Kit Kat?
Mm-hmm.
He trips, the rocket launcher slides, and it shoots himself in the head.
Oh, no, that was Kit. Yeah, was that
Almond
Kit Kat?
Joys, like they blow the dart back to her throat.
yeah.
And then they jump out the way. It's just so energetic and fun and funny. But there's like a big 25-minute chunk where, and the fix would have been simple. How Hawk, he started in New York. He got one piece in New York, another location for the next piece, and then go to Rome. I think because they've already established they're forcing him, and it should be spread out.
Yeah.
Right? Why not? Right? And, maybe send Hawk to China. I don't know, the Great Wall. But that would have helped the energy, maybe. But mainly it's Danny Aiello. I felt like once they took him out of it, the energy kind of dropped. And Bruce Willis, he was fine. It's not like his character didn't have some funny lines, but it just started to drag, man. Like fucking exposition and him scouting out the one location. And so I don't know if I would say this is a highly recommend. It's a recommend, but the asterisk is this is a comedy. And I've seen Bruce Willis in really, like, I grew up watching Moonlighting. This is before your time.
Yeah, my mom always talked about it, but I never watched it.
I fucking love Moonlighting.
Think about Edison. You think old Thomas Alva just laid back in his crib waiting for the light bulb to come on? Hell no. He went out there, strapped on his propeller cap, and invented all kinds of things.
Would you get out of my way, please?
What about Mr. Kleenex?
Mr. Who?
Sure, Mr. Kleenex. You think he waited around for somebody to say, hey, man, got a tissue? Hell no. He looked at his sleeve and said, I have a better idea. This is it, Maddie. This is our light bulb. This is our tissue.
I don't need tissues. I use handkerchiefs.
So I knew him first as a
Comedian.
Yeah, a funny actor.
Well, it's why he was such a hard sell for Die Hard. Actually.
Exactly, right? And which is why I love Die Hard so much, because I got to see him in a different light, but he also brought some of the funny shit I've already known.
Well, yeah, I mean, action films, unless you're making a tough, gritty action film, like, you need some levity, some funness in there, which is actually why there's a movie called Extraction that everyone really likes with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And I can't get into it because I can't see him as dark and gritty. Like, everything I've ever seen him in, he's always been kind of funny and
kind of
lighthearted and fun. Like, I love him because of that. Like, I don't really think he brings much if he's not bringing what, in my opinion, is the best quality of him.
It's what makes him stand out. Because any musclehead could do that role.
Yeah.
You get Chris Hemsworth because he's going to bring a charm and a lightness to even a darkest role.
He's a charming son of a bitch. Like, yeah. Totally.
You ever see Blind Date with Bruce Willis?
Blind Date? I don't think so.
Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger. We should review that one day. I remember loving the shit. It's a Blake Edwards movie.
Remind me, Blake Edwards?
That's Pink Panther.
Oh, okay.
The director wrote some of the scripts. But I fucking love. And that's a comedy. That's straight up comedy. I would say a more inviting comedy than this is.
Right.
This is very niche. It's a cartoon, man. I think you said it.
It really is.
Tom and Jerry, Warner Brothers. Bruce in the interview I watched, she said, it's silly humor. It's Three Stooges. I'm like, yeah, that fight on the castle is completely ludicrous. Three Stooges.
Yeah, totally.
And I can see people seeing that. And if you're not, I'm not saying you have to be a Three Stooges fan, but I love slapstick. I like physical stuff. I grew up watching the Pink Panther movies and Warner Brothers cartoons.
Yeah. And that's my problem. If you go in expecting like a Die Hard, you know what I mean? You're going to be very disappointed. But if you go in expecting, not Naked Gun, not, Johnny Dangerously, but some sort of lighthearted, very kind of outlandish comedic action film. I mean, it's not a perfect film, right? It's not a great film per se, but I don't know. There's a charm to it.
Humor is so subjective. That's why I'm not going to give it a full-throated. Gotta watch it. Like our last review, Basic Instinct.
Oh, you gotta watch that.
Yeah, like, I mean,
like
there's
a great film.
Like, there's no subjection there. That's just like, it's right on the surface and everyone can relate and identify. And yeah, it's cheese, but it's like the best kind of cheese you can have.
90s salacious girl on girl kissing. I mean, how can you say no to that?
Exactly. So, but this, like, I recommend, but it's not your typical comedy, which again works in its favor.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anything since Hudson Hawk that is like Hudson Hawk.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. There's a lot of great little bits, right? The fact that he times his robberies
to music.
To music.
But I love how his Tommy Two-Tone, right? Like, that's his name? Tommy Two-Tone is like...
It's 5-tone.
Oh, yeah, it's Tommy 5-Tone or what it's like. They invented these things called a watch. Like, they even comment, like, you don't have to do this, dude. You could use a watch. And he's like, nah, it's okay. This is how I do it.
Let's just talk about Danny Aiello for a second.
He's amazing.
That donut hole eating son of a bitch, take it in the ear for a beer. Rat bastard!
I don't know if I've seen him. He's probably been in other comedies, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And he was mostly cast in like dramatic films.
Yeah.
Like The Heavy or just dramatic films. He is fucking charming as shit in this, man. Like,
he really is.
Honestly, I'll say the movie didn't really work for me when he wasn't with Bruce Willis. It was their chemistry. So he is a key reason why I think this movie works for the cult that likes it, the people that do like Hudson
Absolutely.
Hawk. Because they're like singing it. There's a charm, there's an energy. And I could see, this is what Bruce was saying, we just made this for us. And I could tell that. I could tell that they were just having fun on set. The first robbery, when, they go separate ways to do their part of the heist. And then 5-Tone slides into the room.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so
It is
good.
so great, dude. Like, it is such a great like musical number / heist.
And all the monkeys on in the zoo. Every day you see quite a few. So you see, it's all up to you. You could be better than you are. You could be swinging on a star.
You got the horse head?
Just got out of jail yesterday and I'm robbing an auction house.
Let's go, Hawk.
I didn't want to do it.
You could be swinging
All I
on
wanted
a
was a
star.
cappuccino.
Snap out of it.
And it's not like a musical, but that's what I love, that it's not like a musical, like, because like in a musical, in the reality of the world, like they're not actually singing and dancing, right? It's a that's like a normal thing that would happen within that world, right? Erupting into song and dance. This is not that. Like, this is literally a couple of guys in the real world where you wouldn't just burst out into song, you know what I mean? Actually singing while doing a heist, you know what I mean? And it's so good. Like, the intermingling of them singing while they're like creeping through the place and stuff. Like, it's just so good. Like, I love...
There's a rhythm, man.
Yeah.
There's like, it's not a musical, but it's paced and blocked like a musical, right? There's a rhythm to everything, almost everything. In my research, looking up the bad reviews, and I found an old Siskel and Ebert review.
Was it two thumbs down for
them?
them?
Yeah, 2 thumbs
way down.
Yeah, it wasn't even a hand. It was a foot. Our hand pointing at a foot. Like, that's how low we're going to go. But they were like...
Hudson Hawk might have worked if only Willis and Danny Aiello, say, had been the silly ones, and everyone they met was super straight.
But it made me think, like you said, but this is the world.
Right.
Like, it's the physics of the world. It's like in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, everyone's in on the joke. You know what I mean? Reality doesn't function the same way. I think I wrote a note. Every security guard in this movie is fucking stupid. Everybody's an idiot. They're like their version of stormtroopers, right? They couldn't.
That's guard. A lot of Wong numbers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wrote that down. Racist joke, which at the time, like, oh, that's funny, but
exactly.
673 Wongs in a phone book.
It's a hell of a lot of Wong numbers. Look up Chin.
Did you take any notes, by the way?
I did. My first note is, I forgot it started this way. My second note is, oh God, the Mona Lisa and those teeth.
I think the opening existed just to have that joke in there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because I think it was the only funny thing that happened other than the guy falling off the donkey.
I will say that the beginning had a similar feel to like Elf. Like the way it starts out with the guy talking about like what's going on and everything. Like, I thought it was
a storybook narrator.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was funny when I saw that Sylvester Stallone's brother, like his name in the Frank Stallone in the credits. I was like, well, let's see if we can pick him out. And I was like, oh, there he is. It looks just fucking like him, dude. Like, exactly like Sylvester Stallone.
I've seen a few Frank Stallone movies a long time ago. I just remember not being a very good actor, but he was good in this.
Yeah.
Hey, you got that, Eddie? Clancy way ain't going our tracks. Hey, subtlety is not one of our strong points.
There's some iconic action like that. The whole ambulance bridge scene. I love when Bruce like takes up the syringe tray and stabs the guy in the face, and then later in the chase, Stallone's up front, and the guy's like, "Yeah, let's get him." And he's got the needles in his face, and they all scream.
What about when he's going down the road on the gurney, and he's like, "Exact change." And he pulls it out of his pocket and throws it in the thing. I was like,
and before that, the lady throws a cigarette out the window. He catches that. Oh, menthol. That sequence is absolutely outrageously dumb, but wonderful, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this movie. Like, I've always felt like the Naked Gun movies were funny, but they were just so dumb. Like, they were so like, they were not grounded in reality at all.
You didn't care about any of,
like you care about Hudson Hawk, you care about Tommy Five Tone, like you care about them. They're characters that make you like them.
Yeah, they're real to the degree they need to be real for the film to make you like invested. Whereas like Naked Gun, and I'm not shitting on those movies, or Frank Drebin, he's just when I say cartoon, he is 100%. A cartoon. You're as invested in him as you would be the fucking coyote.
Exactly. I was gonna say the same thing. Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, like you're there for the gags, really. And you may disagree, but with the exception of one role, I feel like Andie MacDowell is not a good actress, dude. She was in Groundhog Day and she was fine, but like in this movie, she's borderline terrible to me. Like, she's very flat, and maybe that's how they want her to. But I've seen her in other roles, and her line readings feel like line readings to me.
That was bold of you. You didn't have to do that.
It's nothing. Anybody would have done the same thing.
No, I mean, you didn't have to tackle me and rip my dress.
Oh.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Thanks for saving me, tough guy.
I'm watching this and wondering, man, what actresses around that era could they have cast that would have been a little more charming? A little more like something behind the eyes? She just feels very bland to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this stuck out to me from the beginning, even when I first saw it. And like I said, I've seen her in other movies. She was fine at Groundhog Day.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't think she was great in this, but I've never really had an issue with her.
If we're talking about performances, and again, that's like giving critiques of a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Right, exactly.
The characters, but she was the weakest link.
Totally.
And Richard E. Grant, he is channeling his inner Nick Cage, dude. Think
Which
about
one's
it.
Richard E. Grant?
That's the Mayflower, the
that
guy. Yeah, the millionaire. With
you think
his
so?
Physical, yeah, dude, his physical mannerisms, and when he's striking those poses and everything's exaggerated. If you had put Nick Cage in that role, it would have been almost the same kind of performance, I think.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Oh, yes! If Da Vinci was alive today, he'd be eating microwave sushi naked in the back of a Cadillac with the both of us.
And Sandra Bernhard.
Bunny, ball.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to quote the other day. I remember that.
Hello. Bunny, ball.
So, Hawkmeister, we got you clothes, great hotel, and a 250,000 lira per diem.
That's $200 a day, so we can get a hooker and some tequila. Veto, Darwin.
She's really just playing herself in this movie. It was
Yeah,
fine.
well, I feel like she's always just playing herself in movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny is she's probably nothing like that. That's just the persona that she's created. And I find that interesting when actors create a persona that they play in every movie, but that's not actually them. Like, take Hugh Grant. You know what I mean? For years, he was always the same guy, but kind of stuttering sort of. And now, like, you see him in roles, like he disappeared for a while, came back, and now he does a million different characters. Like, he's so good.
So, looking at my notes, the moment of the film where Tommy Five Tone comes back, the three of them are in the apartment, and the CIA operatives, which we gotta get into them.
Yeah.
The one called Butterfingers, did he suggest should he go up and rape them?
Yes, he did.
What's going on in there?
You want me to rape him? Here, just read your book, Butterfinger. Not in a boat, not on a train, not with a goat, not in the rain. I do not like green eggs and ham.
To yourself.
I do not like green eggs and ham. He's reading Green Eggs and Ham.
That's such a dark line. The butler Alfred with the knives, he was great.
He was cool.
So much for his cut. Forgive my dry British humor.
I like Pokey the elephant. The bratty,
oh yeah,
the bratty girl.
Yeah, she's so weird looking, and she's like banging it, and she sticks out her tongue at him. Like, what the fuck?
She sticks her tongue out with Bruce Willis. He sticks his tongue out as well, I believe. And then suddenly you see the elephant flying and hitting the thing to test out the trap to catch the burglar or whatever. So the gurney sequence ends with the ambulance blowing up, Hudson continuing to roll. What did he say? Frankie, Johnny, you guys okay? Clearly they're not. But it rolls, and this is what the first 30 minutes of this film, just great scene transition. He just rolls right where the CIA agents are standing, like they knew he was going to be there.
Land right there, yeah, exactly.
And they're all named after candy bars. So it's like Kit Kat. Which one's David Caruso? Is he Snickers? No, he's Kit Kat.
He's Kit Kat. David Caruso is so weird in this movie, dude.
Yeah, his agent would just mimic. Oh, the part where he was mimicking Bruce Willis.
Yeah, that shit was funny. The phone and then he like hits her and he like backhands the dude in the face. Is so funny.
And he never talks, but he always has the right card that says exactly what is need to be said in the moment.
And then he dies, and his cards fall, and he grabs one that says "I always liked you," and gives it to Andy McDowell's character.
Total Looney Tunes cartoon, man.
Oh man, it was so funny.
Yeah, there's Snickers, Almond Joy, Butterfinger.
Butterfinger used to come into my my Starbucks all the time back in the day.
Oh, really? Was he a nice guy? What the fuck was he? Was just a musclehead that just...
Yeah, he actually played Leatherface in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The ones that came back with like Jessica Biel in it and stuff. Came out back in the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I had a note, and it's best use of product placement ever with the candy bars. but I wonder what came first, the opportunity for product placement, and then like, why don't we just we'll make fun of, or was that always the idea? Like, I don't know. We'll never know the answer, but genius product placement.
Yeah, totally.
And I love the line. I think Almond Joy was like,
"It's better than our old nicknames.
Yeah,
used to be venereal diseases."
And do you know what it's like to be called chlamydia
for an entire year?
And then James Coburn, and I think there's a connection there with Our Man Flint. I mean, obviously, I feel, and he was great. He's
always great though.
He was normally a dramatic actor, I feel. Everyone seems to be having fun and embraces the role, so I completely disagree with having them just play it straight.
Yeah.
That's the charm. This universe is just populated. You don't create Toontown and then have just only Roger Rabbit be silly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the environment, everyone in that universe is wacky.
What about after the second theft in Italy? He's like, I don't know, he's riding on the back of what, like some sort of like a gypsy bus, like he's riding on top of a gypsy bus, jumps off the gypsy bus like straight into and this is the funny thing, it's the same transition, but in this case it's not even a transition, like it's actually part of the scene. Like in the first time they do it is a transition into a completely different scene. This time he's literally jumping off the bus into that chair, and I thought that was kind of brilliant to do this same transition but have it be an actual situation as opposed to a transition. And then he sits down and she's like, "Oh, he finally showed up," and he's like and he like coughs. Spits out feathers, coughs out feathers, and he just does a He does like literally the cartoon like blow out of his mouth. Like, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just so well done. Like, that's one of my favorite little comedy bits in like the entire film. That, and my other favorite one is when she breaks in when they're paralyzed on the floor, when she breaks into the apartment building, and Bruce Willis, he says, Anna Bareilles came to play. He's just so excited about the fact that she's breaking in to save them, and then she gets freaking paralyzed. Like, it's so funny. Like it's funny because the pacing does. You're absolutely right. Like, and I don't even know if it's necessarily just the chemistry between the two actors, or just the pacing in general at that times, because even when it has nothing to do with him and it's other people acting together within a scene, this pacing's still better at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. It just drags from the moment you leave New York to the moment, you see Tommy again. And then the moment you see Tommy again, everything picks up. It's crazy.
If you think about the first 30 minutes, even if you include the Da Vinci stuff, we start in the past, we cut to prison, we go to the bar, we go on a heist, which leads to a high-speed chase. Like, it's just, there's like a great scene in every environment, and the environments are continuously changing. Once we get to Rome, we're just in Rome, and it just, him walking and scouting the location and going from the bad guy's hideout, and it begins to meander, right? And I think it's a simple thing. If you inject Tommy five-tone into that equation.
Should have been Tommy Two-Tone. Like, that's, come on.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say two-tone as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds better.
Oh, dude.
What, Troy? Let's hear it. That was a big dude. So now, don't disappoint me here. This better be good.
Baby, you won't not be. There's deleted scenes.
Oh,
I
no.
found.
I bet.
Hudson had a fucking pet monkey.
What?
Yeah. Little Eddie. So they actually shot, I wish they had kept this in, because he gets out of the joint and he's like,
hey, where's the little guy? Why don't you bring little Eddie?
Eddie wants you to prepare yourself for some bad news.
What? What's the matter?
Well, last night, little Eddie was assassinated.
What?
He was rubbed out.
Oh, my God.
He took 2 shots to the back of the coconut.
Why?
There's a picture of him, and it's a little monkey with a Hudson Hawk hat on, dude. And then listen to this. You can look this up. So when Tommy comes back into the picture, comes back in Rome, and they're in the apartment, the 3 of them, and they're like joking and laughing. One of the anecdotes was how they once caught little Eddie in bed with a little monkey prostitute with fishnets. And then it turns out that the mob didn't whack little Eddie. It was the CIA. So when he's fighting with the guy on the castle ramparts.
Oh, he was like, I killed little Eddie. Yeah.
And Hudson, I guess it ended differently, but Hudson slapped a little Eddie picture on his head before he fell off the castle.
Oh, my God.
They should have kept little Eddie, dude. A little Eddie, little monkey.
One of my notes is, oh, my God, what an awful tux. The tux he wears.
Very
He's like, I gotta
90s.
get a tux. I'm like, oh, my God,
Yeah.
dude. Just wear a tux, dude. A tux is a tux. What the fuck was that? You know?
Andy McDowell's dolphin impression was probably her best acting. That was a note.
I must speak with the dolphins now.
I was going to sum up what you were saying in a patented metaphor. It is like a box of chocolates, man. Like, some of them you're not really a big fan of, but most of it is really good.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie is. Like, I can't recommend it for the story, because the story is just excuses to have some gags.
Yeah.
Funny sequences. So it's like great sequences. But if you watch it all together as a narrative thing, especially in the middle, it doesn't even fall apart. It just doesn't work. But
yeah.
But I remember great sequences, so I'm waiting
Yeah.
for that. I know this moment's coming up, and I love that moment, right?
You know, there's just something about the singing sequences, the heist sequences are just so they're so endearing.
Well, side by side on the castle.
Oh my God! But tell you the truth, I like Swinging on the Star.
That's that's great too. I can't
so good. Yeah. You know, and I still if I ever sing this song, I still sing it to myself like that. Like that's how I remember Swinging on a Star. You know what I mean? That's how I remember Side by Side.
You know what would have been dope? Now that I'm thinking of it, if they had another location and
they could have done another song.
They
only did 2 songs,
and maybe have Andy McDowell in it. And this is new to her, so she's part of it, but awkwardly part of it.
You know what would be funnier though is if they're doing it and she's just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like the whole time she's just like, "This is ridiculous." Why?
But she starts that way, but by the end she's into it.
Yeah, then towards the end she like puts in a little note and they're like, so you get it now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have been so good. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's missing, man.
Yeah.
If you think of it like a musical, I know it's not a musical, but it's missing that second act song. They have one in third and
like
one
you
in
always
first.
say. What do you always say? You know, it's the rule of 3s, man.
Yeah.
You got to have 3 of a good thing. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel complete with only 2. You need 3.
How many times did he not get his cappuccino? It's probably more than 3.
Oh my God. I fucking love the fact that he can never get his cappuccino until the very end. And then what about at the end when Tommy's telling him all the things that happened that allowed him to live after that explosion? He's like,
You're supposed to be all crashed up at the bottom of the hill.
Airbags, can you fucking believe it?
You're supposed to be blown up into fiery chunks of flesh.
Sprinkler system set up in the back. Can you fucking believe it?
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Like, what a fucking stupid line.
Makes total sense.
But I love it so much. It's like the dumbest fucking line ever, but I love it so much, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the movie's just saying, don't overthink it. We like Tommy, so Tommy's coming back.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can't lose Tommy. Without Tommy, there's no movie.
Oh, and in the castle, I love when Tommy does the under the arm, the cannon fire. Like he has the cannon behind him.
Yeah.
And he's like waiting for the right moment to fire it with the
exactly.
the line, the song.
This movie is worth just those 2 scenes. Like there's so many good moments in this movie, but those 2 scenes are like gems of cinematic history in my opinion. Like I love them.
And I love especially as a kid, I love Hudson's look.
Yeah.
I love the hat. What was that, pork pie hat, I'd say?
Yeah.
And the long black coat. And then even that the action is there, the action's well done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he swings off the castle, you know, the coat flapping, you know, it's on the poster that moment. Like as a kid, I remember watching it over and over again on VHS. For some reason, that scene was just like, oh, that's so fucking cool. You know, Joel Silver produced this as well.
Really?
Yeah. That's why the action is just top notch. Everything is like really well done. But I wish Bruce had did more comedies, man. Like I felt like, you know, he did what's the Zemeckis movie? Death Becomes Her. So that was
I met him while he was making that movie. That's where I met him.
You said it was a really nice fellow.
He was really nice. He seemed really cool and funny and down to earth. Like, you know, he seemed very nice. My dad liked him. Then again, my dad said most people he worked with were nice, you know. Most actors are pretty cool, like for the most part.
And then there's little stuff like I made note, the auctioneer's jowls shaking, the little.
Yeah. What about, dude, when that explosion goes off at the auction and like you see, like, dude, he just like explodes into nothingness, dude. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that helps get you a rated R, but you didn't really need it. Like you see,
to tell you the truth, you don't need to show that. Like you don't, at least not that close. But did that even? Tell you the truth, I feel like the main, I mean, at least in America, right? Because Americans,
but the language was the main.
They don't give a fuck about violence. You know, violence is whatever. But if you show a boob or you say fuck 2 times as opposed to 1 time, like that gets you an R rating. You can show someone getting their throat slit as long as you don't see that much blood before you cut away. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking dumb.
Wasn't the Pope watching Mr. Ed?
I don't remember.
Remember when Hudson was escaping from the second heist?
Oh, and he like sees through the window.
I think the antenna or something was futzed with.
You know what? I'm so sad. I should have bought this movie. I shouldn't have rented it.
I bought it.
Fuck,
it was like
man.
$12 on
$12 or something.
YouTube.
I don't know why the fuck I didn't buy it. I'm like kicking myself now
because I'm watching it all the way through. Maybe in 5 years, but watching bits, there's definitely. And that's how I remember this movie, man. Like, I've rewatched, I don't know, say once a year, but every now and then I go back to him and Tommy doing the opening heist, the musical numbers, the funny lines. I just have nothing but fond memories of this movie.
Yeah, me too.
I actually remember seeing it in the theater in my podunk country town. I may have been the only one in the theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even in my small town, which had nothing to do but watch corn grow. No one on opening weekend went to see, although I probably didn't get it on opening weekend.
Is that what they grew in your town, corn?
Well, actually tobacco.
Tobacco, that's what I was going to say. You're in North Carolina.
Tobacco and cotton.
Tobacco and cotton.
100%.
Yikes.
Some other honorable mentions, I like when she puts on her sunglasses. How about the whole light up cross? The get smart cross,
dude. I love that part when she goes. Well, I can't remember exactly what she said. She's like, help me, Father, for I've sinned or something to the cross, and then it starts talking back, and I'm like, what the fuck? I remember that's so funny. Like the cross is like their communication thing.
And there was a moment it happened when Bruce Willis was there, and he was like, "Oh, these Catholic girls," or what was the line?
I don't remember.
I wrote Asian music for a karate fight. Oh, when Coburn started to do his kung fu, they did a tiggity dee 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 dee. And I wrote Fight on Top of Castle I noticed, the score had like piano, which made me think again of a Looney Tunes cartoon. Because they use a lot of piano in those soundtracks.
You know what? It sounded like to me at times, towards the beginning, it had a very like doom doom doom, like sort of like Roger Rabbit sort of music feel. I was wondering to myself if like the guy who did Roger Rabbit did this. You know what I mean?
So the origin of Hudson Hawk. Bruce Willis and Robert Kraft were friends going back to New York. Kraft has gone on to become renowned Hollywood music producer. Like, he's a heavy hitter. But back then they were two schmoes. So the Hawk is the name of the wind in Chicago. And it was actually Kraft's initial idea for a song. And the wind was blowing so hard off the Hudson River, he was walking by it, that he was like, this is like the Hudson Hawk.
Oh,
he was like, okay. Hudson Hawk. So he started crafting a little jingle. He had the notes in his head. And upon hearing the name, Bruce Willis was like, that's a great name. We're going to make a movie together about this guy one day.
Nice.
And I think this is before Moonlighting. This is before he became...
when they were young. Yeah, totally.
Well, where he was just a fucking bartender. And then, several years later...
They do it.
Oh, did you know Dr. John did a version of Hudson Hawk, the song?
No.
Did that play in the end credits? I didn't watch it.
I don't even know the song.
I mean, there's actually a video for it.
Oh, I think I found it.
Everybody knows when the cold wind blows, the Hudson Hawk again. Let it rain, let it snow, let the north wind blow, the Hudson Hawk, my friend.
Dr. John and Randy Newman are very similar singing styles. You got a friend in me, Hudson Hawk. A dog licked his cock.
Bunny Ball Ball.
I think Bunny's got today's balls.
Bad Bunny.
Oh, Bunny, you weren't that bad. Just 2 more minutes. I was so close.
Like how everyone's dressed as Hudson in the video.
Oh, God. That is, oh, my God.
Is that cheese, Mike, or is that,
That is some stinky cheese right there.
I feel sorry for anyone who can't see any humor in this because it's such a I don't give a shit carefree movie.
Some people just can't get out of their own heads. You know what I mean? Like,
Then maybe they're just too analog. I had a thought in an alternate universe because they did this in Fringe, where they went to alternate universes and you saw, and it's been done in movies like in The Flash, where Eric Stoltz was in Back to the Future. Maybe in an alternate universe, Hudson Hawk was a massive hit and had sequels.
oh,
Because man, I would have loved to seen a sequel.
it was just prime for like to this. Could you imagine if we had like
And the sequel would have been better,
maybe
because they probably would have learned from
maybe,
but
maybe,
but if people love like the musical numbers with them, if that was like a thing, then you give them more of what they love, right? And
yeah,
Bruce Willis is such a he had a bit of a music career. I don't know if you knew that. He had a band.
I think I did know. Yeah, he had a band and everything. I remember that. What's your favorite part of the movie?
Oh man, that's tough,
Okay,
dude. That's so tough to say.
Okay. Let's say aside from the musical numbers, because those are gems, right?
Okay.
So if you have to pick from the rest of the movie, not the musical numbers, because I love the music. Like,
I think it's
obviously
easy. I got it.
What is it?
Paralysis scene.
Yeah, me too.
The paralysis scene.
Too.
It's got
so good.
Physical comedy. It's got danger.
Mm-hmm.
It's got what they say is funny. Like it works on all levels, dude.
Dude, the Anna Baragli came to play line is one of my favorite lines. It is my favorite line in the entire movie. Yeah, absolutely.
And what I love about it is Danny Aiello gets to play physical comedy with his hand. They cross their legs and pose their And then close second would probably be the gurney sequence. And behind that is just I'd say just the castle swinging. For some reason, that one moment, I loved that as a kid.
That encapsulates the whole movie.
Yeah. Swashbuckling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's on the poster.
Yeah. I feel like Hudson Hawk would be the movie you and I would make.
Yeah. If we could make a movie that good, I would be so proud. Like, I would be so proud of that movie.
You know the ultimate? If, let's just say, in an alternate universe, this podcast blows up. Let's say this universe. One day, this podcast and becomes a YouTube thing.
I mean, look, by the time we do 400 episodes, we have to have at least double the amount of listeners that we do now. You know what I mean? At least a few people who we don't know will be listening to us, you know?
44 instead of, what's my
whatever
math?
It is, yeah.
I would love for us to recreate scenes from movies as like little fun things to do. And Hudson Hawk would be up there, us singing. And, doing our little heist thing while singing.
I love to sing, so I would love to do that.
There you go.
I love to sing. I love to act. I love to dance.
Yeah.
I love all that shit.
That up there with Blues Brothers. And yeah, that's it. And I just said it. I feel like in terms of a duo and non-traditional singing duo, like Tommy Fivetone and Hudson, Jake and Elwood, like that would be an awesome concert. In heaven.
Oh, man.
Well, Bruce is still with us and Danny, but you get my drift. So what do you want to rate Hudson Hawk?
I'm giving it 4 out of 5. No, yeah, fuck it. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 extremely close doggy simulated orgasms for Bruce Willis.
Bunny.
Ball.
I will give this 3.5 shattered cappuccino cups.
There we go.
Out of 5. Before I watched it last night, I probably would have given it 4, but it really stood out to me. The middle, it really dragged. It checks out because all my favorite memories of this movie are the first act and third act.
and like I said, I mean, I wavered a little bit at first, like going maybe to 3.5, but I just stuck with my
go for it, man.
No, I know. I did that. I did stick with mine, but I'm just saying I stuck with my initial gut reaction mainly just because it does drag in the middle. But there's something about this movie. There's a charm to it.
There's charm. And you can't.
Yeah.
It's not on page. It's chemistry between Aiello and Willis. And that could have gone terribly, right? But I'm assuming they screen tested, or maybe they knew each other.
Yeah, they probably knew each other.
So that's the secret sauce, man. Like their chemistry. That's the romance.
Totally.
Forget Andy McDowell's character.
Yeah, fuck Andy McDowell.
There's a bromance going on here between Hawk and
you know what I love about that character is he just always has a smile that he knows something. You know
Danny
what I mean?
Aiello?
He always has something up his
has a
sleeve, man.
Smile.
He just always has this like mischievous smile. I fucking love it, dude. He's so good.
And you could just tell they go way back. You know what I mean?
I am so sad I didn't buy this fucking movie. Maybe I'll just go buy it anyways. Fuck it. I fucking love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
So if you would like to support this show, keep us going, keep us rolling along, uploading content, you can support us by going to patreon.com/baldguysbadmovies and donate to the show. We're going to use those funds to make sure we can see any movies that you guys want to see and getting our studio set up so we can start recording video and doing these not just audio but also video on YouTube. And once a month, we will pick a patron to choose a movie for us to review. And we'll review it. We'll dedicate it to you. But either way, we just hope you enjoy the show and keep on coming back.
Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. We may be ragged and funny, but we'll travel along. Hit it, Eddie! Singing a song. Side by side.
Hey, Mr. Hawk, I got your stamps.
Good, Yogi.